Hello and welcome to today's lesson on how to excel in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination. Today, we will be discussing easy steps in solving WASSCE questions. Whether you are preparing for the upcoming exam or just want to improve your English skills, this video is certainly for you. We are going to walk you through some practical steps using some West African Senior School Certificate Examination English questions to help you perform at your best. This is English Classes Online, and as usual, I am your host, Benjamin. Let's dive right in. Now, we want to begin with the questions, the WASSCE June 2022 English Language 1 objective test questions. And our focus will be on section 2, okay? That's exactly where our focus will be. And we will first look at the instruction for this section. From the words lettered A to D, choose the word that best completes each of the following sentences. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through questions 11 to 20 and show you the to each question. Now let's begin with question number 11. The recent floods in some countries have dashed many lives. And when I say dash, I am referring to the blank space, and you are expected to choose one of the options to fill the blank space. Option A, claimed. B, drowned. C, buried. And D, injured. The accurate option is A, and that is claimed. So the recent floods in some countries have claimed many lives. Now, how did we arrive at this answer? Let's give the grammatical explanation. First of all, you need to understand what collocation is about. It's a grammatical concept referring to a group of words that usually go together. The second thing we are going to look at is the semantics aspect. Now, you need to understand what this is all about. The recent floods in some countries have dashed many lives. Now, what do you think floods usually do? Floods can kill people, right? So the word claimed is, appropriate here, because when you talk about, lives, claiming many lives, the word claimed goes with lives. The war claimed millions of lives. The whatever you think, could result in deaths, then you say that such a thing claimed some lives or many lives. Now, let's look at semantics. Semantics refers to the study of meaning, and whenever we are, examining the meaning of a word, phrase, or text, we are dealing with semantics. Now, if something claims many lives, it kills many lives. And so when you look at the meaning of the words, each of these words, then you can figure out which one can fit in the blank space, okay? Those are the simple steps, very easy steps you need to take in order to pick the correct answer. Question number 12, he does not smoke, so the gift of an ashtray will not be quite dash. A, admirable, B, applicable, C, appropriate, and D, attractive. The correct option is C, appropriate. Now, why do we conclude it should be appropriate? Let's look at the grammatical explanation. We use the concept of register because here we are looking at the language that is meant for a particular purpose or in a particular social situation. Okay, so here, when you look at the social habit of smoking, you discover that when one smokes, one needs an ashtray, but if one does not smoke, he or she does not need an ashtray. And so he does not smoke, so the gift of an ashtray will not be quite dash. Is it admirable, applicable, appropriate, or attractive? Appropriate. Now, how do we conclude that it's appropriate? We look at the meaning of appropriate, and that is the semantics aspect. If something is not appropriate, it is not suitable or proper in the circumstances. Now, if you are giving the gift of an ashtray to someone who does not smoke, then it's really not proper. It's not suitable. Someone who smokes that needs an ashtray. Someone does not smoke, certainly he or she doesn't need an ashtray. So such a gift will not be quite appropriate. Moving on, we look at question number 13. The reviewer did an excellent job at the book dash. A, launch. B, premiere. C, session. And D, briefing. The correct option is A, launch, because whenever you talk about book, it goes with launch, book launch, okay? So the grammatical explanation is register because we are looking at the language of publishing, language meant for a particular purpose, the purpose of publishing, or such a social or professional situation. And then we look at the semantics to launch a book. What is a book launch? A book launch is a series of events or activities to promote the new release of a book. So book and launch go together. Apart from register, we can also look at the concept of collocation, and we can see that book can collocate with launch. Book launch, okay? Question number 14. The governor filed an dash against the ruling of the tribunal. A, injunction. B, objection. C, application. And D, appeal. The correct option is D, appeal. Now, what is the grammatical explanation? We are dealing with register. So in this case, we are dealing with the register of politics or judiciary, okay? Precisely the language of judiciary or law. So here, let's look at the semantics. What is an appeal? In the language or register of law, an appeal is an application to a higher court for a decision to be reversed. So the governor filed an appeal against the ruling of the tribunal. Now, the tribunal is the lower court, and so if the governor, feels unsatisfied with the ruling of the tribunal, he can file an appeal at the higher court, which incidentally is the Court of Appeal, okay? Or the appeal court, if you like. Now, question number 15. At the terminus, all passengers on the train will have to dash. A, alight. B, disembark. C, descend. And D, dismount. The correct option is B, disembark. Now, what is the grammatical explanation? We are looking at register because the language of transportation, to be precise, rail transportation, is where we find, disembark. Okay, so let's look at the semantics. Okay, sorry. In the language or register of transportation, if the passengers on the train disembark, they leave the train. Now, when you talk of the word alight, which is option A, it will be appropriate, when you are discussing road transportation. You can alight from a vehicle, but you disembark from a train or a ship or an aircraft. Okay. Question number 16. Reading the dash of the famous king, one would see that he had many things to hide. A, memoirs. B, chronicles. C, life. And D, monument. The correct option is A, memoirs. Now, we are dealing with the register of publishing, if you like, or the book industry. Now, let's look at the semantics aspect. In the language or register of publishing, a memoir is a historical account or biography written from personal knowledge. So reading the memoirs of the famous king, one would see that he had many things to hide. Question 17. The smaller boys had always drawn back in fear when the bully raised a fist, but this time they did not dash. A, advance. B, agree. C, retaliate. And D, recoil. The correct option is D, recoil. And here we're dealing with collocation. All right? A group of words that usually go together. Now, but again, semantics enables us to figure out the correct word. When we look at the various words, advance here is not appropriate. The smaller boys had always drawn back in fear when the bully raised the fist. But this time they did not dash. The word bet suggests, something opposite, but then you have the negation here, and that actually, forecloses the choice of advance. So recoil is the appropriate word because when you look at the meaning, to recoil is to suddenly spring back in fear, horror, or disgust, please. Now, they did not recoil means they didn't go back. This time, they didn't go back. They had always drawn back in the past, but this time they did not draw back. And the correct word for drawing back is recoil, especially draw back in fear. To recoil is to suddenly spring back in fear, horror, or disgust. Question number 18. The old man prayed for the dash of his sins before he died. A, omission. B, commission. C, permission. And D, remission. Option A, remission. Well, the actual, we have the various options here. Option A, omission. B, commission. C, permission. And D, remission. The correct option is D, remission. So here we are dealing with the language of religion. So register is the grammatical concept we have to apply here. And then we look at the meaning of the word remission. Okay. Omission does not belong to this context. Commission also and permission, all these are all eliminated. We are left with remission. Now, what is the meaning of remission? In the language or register of religion, to pray for the remission of one's sins is to pray for pardon or forgiveness, okay? Remission means pardon or forgiveness, okay? Question number 19, inflation has caused the cost of goods to dash. A, escalate. B, ascend. B, C, intensify. And D, progress. The correct option is A, escalate. We are dealing with the register of economics, okay? And we are looking for the proper words to put in the proper place. According to Jonathan Swift, a notable English scholar, one thing that enables us to, speak or write well is to put proper words in proper places. All right, and that is what register is about. The right choice of words for a particular situation. Now, let's look at the meaning of, the meaning of the word remission. Escalate, which of course is the appropriate word in this context. So in the language or register of economics, for the cost of goods to escalate is for the cost of goods to increase. Price escalation means price increase, okay? And that's the right word for this context. Now let's go to the last but not the least question. Question number 20. The economy of the country has remained dash despite the crisis. A, strong. B, realistic. C, tough. And D, firm. Well, the correct option is A, strong. Okay, strong. Now, here we're dealing with register because we are dealing with the register or the vocabulary or the language of economics. Then let's look at the meaning of the chosen word. Okay. In the language or register of economics, if the economy of a country remains strong, it remains buoyant. Okay. It remains buoyant or flourishing. And this brings us to the end of the lesson on the easy steps in solving WASSCE English questions. I hope you found this video helpful. I want to thank you for watching today's episode. I look forward to seeing you in the next class.